Well, we want to welcome you back once again to the Heights Baptist Church podcast. I'm Pastor Matt. I'm joined today with Pastor Lee, who's our lead pastor, and this is going to be episode number 2 of season 2. And once again, we are talking about the whole idea of discipleship, and specifically, we're going to be talking about discipleship the way we're going to be doing it here at Heights, because we've got a whole new process that we're going to be rolling out in the next couple of weeks. All right, I'm going to ask a tricky question. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
You're the host now.
Oh, my God.
This is what you can do.
Okay, so at Heights, we got Sunday morning worship.
Yeah.
We got life groups. We got discipleship groups. Mm-hmm. We got equip groups that meet seasonally.
Right.
That's a lot of groups.
Right.
So if I'm a person and I'm like, man, I just only have so many hours in a week.
Yeah.
Is there something that you would encourage them to prioritize? Would you say focus on one and focus on another later? Like how it seems like it can sound a bit overwhelming when we lay out all of the opportunities we have to help you grow in your relationship with Christ at Heights. Now there's some of our folks, because I've seen them, they signed up for it. They signed up for all of them.
Yeah.
We had some folks that signed up for like all the equip groups.
Yeah.
I had one guy come to me in the lobby and he was like, now the schedule for the equip groups. Right. He's like, are they going to conflict with each other? Because I signed up for all of them.
Yeah, I have a few that, in the theology and Old Testament. Yeah, I have a couple. There's a couple that are in both. And God bless them. Because I'm going to have homework in mine. I don't know if you're assigning homework, but they're going to have reading in mine every week. So
we're going to watch videos.
You're going to watch If you want to deeply learn, come to Pastor Lee's class. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll have better snacks or something. So, the question was, which one do you do?
Well, right? If you just feel like I can't do all of it, like what would I focus on?
Well, I mean, okay, let's be real practical here. Life groups should be a given. If you're planning on being here on Sunday morning at 10:30, wake up a little earlier and get here at 9.
Come an hour earlier.
Get here at 9.
Get involved in life group.
Right. And I know some people are going to push back and go like, oh, but you don't. No. Go to bed a little earlier. Wake up a little earlier. Get here at 9. Okay? I mean, I say that very lovingly. Yeah. Come on, let's do that. So that one should be a given. Our equip groups, those are seasonal, like you said. So we usually do 2 offerings a year on those. At this time,
and they're short term.
6 to 8 weeks. So we're offering those right now. So we usually offer those between September, finish up by Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Then we'll, February, finish up by early May. So we don't do anything over the summer. And those are Wednesday nights. Sunday nights are usually when we offer those. So I would say, like, hey, if you got time in that 6 to 8 weeks, man, plug in. Like, again, that's not an ongoing thing. Our discipleship groups, those are pairs are designed for you as a pair to meet when you can meet. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I'm going to have 2 guys in mind, and I'm starting out with 2 because one of them gets off work at 2:30 in the afternoon. So he's like, I can get to you by 3.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, okay, well, cool. I'm out. I'm here at 3. Like, I can work with you from 3 to 4 or 4 to 30 and be home by 5, right? And so the other gentleman I'm going to work with, I have to. That's going to be evening once when we meet. And so the way we've designed the pairs is it's 4 sessions that we encourage our groups to get through in 8 weeks. And so we say, it's 4 times you're going to meet individually to go over the curriculum. And then maybe in that off week, go out to coffee, go see a movie, check in with each other. So we're kind of saying, hey, get these 4 sessions done in 8 weeks, which gives a little bit of wiggle room on schedules and things like that. So we're busy on things, and I get that. So my point is, yes, jump in. I think life groups is just a dead given. Mm-hmm. I really do. I mean, if you're planning on being here on Sunday morning anyway at 10:30, jump in at 9 o'clock. The equip groups is going to take a little more planning. Maybe, we offer childcare at both, different things like that. Our discipleship groups, I think, you got to plug into that. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of folks, once they go through that process of being discipled, can now be a disciple maker. But everything's always about sacrifice and time. and just trying to find that time and sacrifice. If it's important, you're going to do it. You know, I mean, you're going to find ways to do that.
So let's say that I'm really excited about being a disciple maker, and I want to submit to that command that Jesus gives us in the Great Commission: go and make disciples. But I don't know how.
Yeah.
So how would I how would I start that process of becoming a disciple maker?
Right. So our first training's September 17th. Our second training's October 1st.
Okay.
Those are right after our worship service. It will be about an hour long. We'll feed you lunch, get your free book. So there you go. I mean, right off the bat, you get free food and a free book.
Nice.
The way that we've designed the book is there's reading to do each time you meet. There's also videos for each session. So our ministerial staff, you know, I don't, do you remember which video you did, by the way? I don't remember off the top of the head all the ones I did.
I did baptism.
Okay.
And I don't remember off the top
Okay, so
of my head.
baptism. We'll take
Yeah,
baptism.
sure.
So when you get to the baptism chapter, there's a QR code in the book that they can take their phone, scan. You're going to come up on YouTube, explain baptism for 2-3 minutes. And then when you're in with your pairs, there's guided questions that you as a disciple maker can ask. Y'all can go back and forth on discussing it. There's a Bible reading plan each week that you can do, the disciple can do. You know, there's questions on those. So we've really designed it in such a way that it's pretty self-guided. I mean, you know, we want you to do the training just so we can give you some tips and show you how to use the resource. But really, anybody can pick it up and go. I mean, you know, that's the way we designed that is anybody can grab it and say, you know, come here, Joe, let's do this together, you know. So
Now, what if I'm a person that wants to be a disciple maker, but I don't have a particular person in mind, or maybe I'm afraid to ask somebody.
Right.
Like how do I find that person that wants to be discipled?
Yeah, so we've got disciple makers who say, I don't have somebody in mind, so pair me with someone. You know, and then we've had several people sign up saying, I want to be discipled, but I don't know who to ask. So pair me with someone. Okay, so Tom, meet Jerry. You know, like we're going to do that. So part of that is if you're on that, I want to be discipled, but I don't know who, let us know. Or if I want to be discipled, you know, and I want to make a disciple, I don't know who to ask, like let us know. You can sign up on our website, heightschurch.org/events. And there's a section called Discipleship Groups right there that they can sign out, fill out that information. Then Nathan Peterson, our pastor of administration, will get with you and bring those pairs together.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but I think in making disciples, there's people all around us. You know, like think about who's in our home. Do I have a teenager that needs to be discipled? You know, and some of our listeners are like, yeah, I got a teenager that really needs to know Jesus, right? Like that's not hard. So we got teenagers in homes, you know, our workplaces. Is it a kid at school? Like we've got some of our teens that are, man, they're fired up. They're ready to go, you know, and make disciples themselves. So for them, it's who's on my ball team or who's in class, you know, who's at work, who's in church. It doesn't have to just be somebody in church.
Gotcha.
You know, it can be anybody that you meet or know in any of those circles of life that you can, you know, invite into that discipleship making relationship.
Do you see a distinction between discipleship and evangelism, or are those two different things, or are they part of the same thing?
I put them on the same level in a way. All right. So you take a quarter, you got the head side and a tail side, right? So I think it's the same quarter. One is one side and the other. But in the process of making a disciple, I'm sharing the gospel.
Gotcha.
You know, and so maybe it is a guy, you know, Tom, he doesn't know Jesus. And so I'm evangelizing Tom with the gospel. He comes to know Christ. And now he's a disciple, right? But I kind of did what I would call pre-discipleship by sharing the gospel with him. You know, because the word disciple just means learner, right? I mean, and so it's following somebody, it's learning. So part of that evangelism relationship is him teaching about the gospel and him learning those things.
Gotcha.
You know, and so then I think it that relationship then continues. It's like, oh, great, Tom, now you know Jesus. Let's keep learning about Christ. Let's keep digging in deeper and knowing now how to live as a Christian.
So if you're somebody who's interested in becoming a disciple maker, you could use this process and this kind of curriculum that we've developed for our discipleship process. If you've got a friend at work, or you've got a neighbor or a family member who's got questions, but they may not be a believer yet, you could still use that same process. You could use the same book, the same materials, as a guide to help guide conversations about
Christ, and coming to know Christ. I mean, because we have in that discipleship book, we have a section on the gospel.
Like what is
the gospel? And we break that down, And so that would be great if you've got somebody who, you know that you're working with that doesn't know Christ. I mean, you're taking them through that chapter. Just, do you want to know Jesus right now? I mean, like, we can't tee it up any easier for you, but that's part of that design in that.
So kind of what I'm hearing is, or at least what I'm excited about when it comes to how we're doing discipleship at Heights, is we're providing training.
Right.
We're providing resources. We've created a brand new curriculum. It's going to be available for purchase on Amazon.
Yep.
With videos that tie in. There's a disciple guide. There's like a leader guide section of that book. We're helping to kind of match disciples and disciple makers if people need resources for that. And then the content itself is really pretty straightforward.
It is.
It's really kind of some core tenets of what we believe as believers. And so this isn't a situation where you have to know Greek and Hebrew in order to make a disciple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I would imagine that could possibly be intimidating for some people.
Right.
Because they'd be like, well, I don't know I don't make disciples. Like, that's what the pastors are for.
Yeah.
The guys that went to seminary and they know, they know Greek and Hebrew and stuff like that. But that's not really what this is about.
Yeah.
This is about helping another person walk with Jesus, and primarily by being an example. It's like, this is how I follow Jesus. This is, you got questions about how to pray. This is how I pray.
Right.
So I think that'll be something that'll be really valuable. I think it'll be really valuable, not only for the person who is learning, but also for the person who's teaching.
Yeah. And because one of the things too, I'm excited about is it's trying to help people know how to explain out some of the core things we do. So for a church member who's been in church forever, and like yesterday, we just took the Lord's Supper. Can they really sit somebody down and in 5-10 minutes teach them about the Lord's Supper? Some might go, yeah, I can do it. Some may go, I don't know how to explain that. But that's part of discipleship. It's learning. It's not only learning the content, but it's now being able to help transfer that to somebody else. And so that's kind of that disciple making a disciple part. It's transferable now. It's not just, I've been made a disciple because I know all these things. Well, part of discipleship is, now I've known it, now I'm going to do it and make another one. And that's how the kingdom grows out of that.
So this is actually, this new discipleship process, this isn't something that we're going to just do once as a church.
Right.
This is something that we're envisioning being an ongoing process.
Yeah.
So once you've had the training and you've got the book, you're not just going to be doing this for 4, 6, 8 weeks. You're going to be doing this over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully the person you've met with will go and do it with someone else, And so that's one of the things when I approach my 2 guys to say, hey, I want to do this with you. I've already had that conversation. I'm like, my expectation is I'm going to take you through these 4 sessions and then you're going to go do this. And they're like, okay. I was like, no, I ain't kidding you. Like, I mean, like, this is the expectation. It's not just you checking off another Bible study, but you now going and spreading that to somebody else and helping somebody else with it.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know. I'm really excited about
Yeah.
what's going to be happening at Heights. And I know it's going to be kind of different
Right.
than what we've done in the past.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. And I'm really excited to see the response of the people. And I'm excited about like the new content and the new like curriculum and the new approach and all that. Pastor Lee, before I let you go, do you have kind of just any final words, any final thoughts on discipleship?
Yeah. And so I just want to encourage our listeners to kind of take the plunge. You know, there are some of you out there, and maybe you were like me at times in my faith walk where I was like, man, I really want to be discipled. You know, and there's parts in my early 20s, mid 20s where I was like, I want somebody to disciple me, and I didn't know who to ask. I didn't know who to go to, and that can kind of feel a little intimidating. To walk up to somebody you know and go, hey, can you disciple me? Because then that person may go, I don't know, you know. But so let me just encourage you, if that's you in your heart and you're like, man, I really want to be discipled, there is zero shame in that, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how long you've been a believer in Jesus. There is zero shame in going, man, I want to be discipled, you know. And so if that's you and you don't know somebody to ask to do that, if you'll contact us, you know, contact us at our church office, drop a note maybe on the YouTube video here or Facebook page. We will help you find that person. You know, my second kind of encouragement is going to be, go make a disciple. I mean, that's something that I think if you polled our congregation, and you polled a lot of churches, a lot of people are going to go, number one, I've never intentionally had someone disciple me, and number two, I've never intentionally made a disciple. And in my heart, I want to reverse that trend. Right? I want to see that reverse, because this is a command that Jesus gives the church. Go make disciples. And Alistair Begg says it a little bit kind of like this, that God has made some things in Scripture very plain to us. This is very plain. Go make disciples. So the way Alistair Begg says it is, you know, keep the plain things the main thing. And so in a church, okay, God's really plainly told us to do this. So let's let this be the main thing we do in making disciples. So I just want to encourage you on that.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Season 2 of the Heights Baptist Church podcast. We worship together every Sunday morning at 10:30. We've got life groups that meet at 9 a.m. And so if you're in the greater Houston area, we would love for you to join us at our campus in Alvin. You can find out more about what we're doing here at Heights and how we love and lead all people to new life with Christ by going to heightschurch.org.